Okay, this is a video. I'm going to activate this coal, and then once I cook the coal, it's going to be charcoal. What I did, I have an iron can, and I boiled this iron can and cleaned it out with a Brillo pad, real nice and neat, because I didn't want any molecules mixing with the process when I turn this coal into charcoal. Now, preferably I'd rather had bamboo or even coconut wood or empty coconut shells. I have a couple empty coconut shells I'm going to toss in here. But this is avocado wood. Something vegetated is good. You know, I know it's good wood. It's wood from the alkaline fruit, so I prefer to use the avocado wood. Okay, as you see, I got the coal going. I got some coconut shells in there, as you can see. They all busted up, which is coconut is alkaline, and that's a good process because even the char from the coconut is good, even when activated. And I'm going to cover it with this iron lid. That way no air can get inside. Now, I've turned the coal into charcoal. You see how brittle that is? In the compressed can, it's been heated. So what I'm going to do is break this coal up. I'm going to crush it up real nice. Okay, and what I do, I have a pipe, got this bag, and I'm just crushing it up. I can use a hammer, but I'd rather kill all these birds with one stone, just rolling and crushing it up. See, this is how I want it to look before I activate it, because I want to crush it into a powdery substance, somewhat so. I still have to break up some of these pieces here, but as you saw just a minute ago, this is what I did. I had the bag of what is now charcoal, because I heated it up. So now it's not coal no more, it's charcoal. And I poured it over here, this bag, and I'm gonna shift it, because I want all the smaller pieces that I broke up to go through. Whatever big pieces are left, I'll just recrush those later, because I'll have more for the future. And just to give you an idea, and give you a peek, give you a sneak peek inside the bag, and there you have it. And this is what I'm using to shift. Take all the smaller pieces out, and that's why you just see the bigger pieces left. And I can go back and recrush those, because I'm going to put those back in the bigger bag. Okay, now, I've read where people would recommend to use a blender, but I prefer to use a mortar and pestle. You know what I mean? Oh, this old school. I'm going to shake this coal up, because I'm going to grind this into like a fine powder and get it going. And everything I used here is natural. Once I bust this into a powder, grind it to a powder, I'm going to have to impregnate it with calcium chloride, but I'll get to that in a minute. But I recommend, if you guys ever try this, which I don't recommend, do it outside, because it can get messy. Don't get me wrong, I see why they say use a blender, because the mortar and pestle gonna take a little minute, but hey, I'm not finna tear up my blender for this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have crushed and grinded the coal into like almost like a fine powder substance. I have plenty of coal, but using the mortar does take time, so I mean, this should be enough for what I'm going to use and what I'm going to make with it. So now it's on to the chemistry part. I do recommend a blender, because the mortar does take long and it is some work. Alright. Now this right here is where it get gangster. This is where it get dangerous. What I'm going to use is this stuff here. I'm going to use 100 milliliters of calcium chloride and 300 milliliters of water, which is going to combine to a total of 400 milliliters. And then I'm going to mix it with the coal. Don't try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. This is chemistry on steroids. Okay, pour this into the jar. We got the 300 milliliters we're gonna pour. One thing about this stuff here, boy, it gets hot. This thing gets hot. So they gotta release the lid of the jar and put on some gloves too. I recommend don't do this barehanded because the mixture of this gets very hot. I'm trying to whip it. Whip it until I get it to like almost like a paste type form. Okay. Got the mixture in there. Got it kind of where I want it. So what I got to do is stop here. And I'm going to come back tomorrow because I have to let this stuff sit for 24 hours before I put it in the oven. So it is. So what I'm going to do is take this copper pot and cover it. Now I choose to use a copper pot. It doesn't necessarily have to be copper, but you know, just for my closure, I want everything to be natural and the best it can be. Okay, it's been 24 hours. And what I'm going to do is filter this carbon. It's activated carbon. Before I put it in the oven, what I'm going to do is drain the mixture of the calcium chloride out and put it in the oven. But I have a white t-shirt where I'm going to filter it. And you don't want your t-shirt to smell like washing powder or bleach, because then the carbon, the activated carbon will already go into effect trying to get rid of that bleach. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. And this is the process I'm doing here in the bowl. Scooping this stuff in there just like this. What I've done is I'm letting it dry out a bit, and then I'm going to rinse it with fresh water and put it on that baking pan. I want to use fresh water because, you know, if you're in the city using city water, you know, a lot of that water has chlorine on it. My house has a water filter that filters out the chlorine. But if you don't have a water filter at home, use pure alkaline water or something of that nature. Okay, I done let the sun dry out this carbon. So what I'm going to do is wring it into the bowl. Okay, see, I'm just, whatever little dampness I'm getting, I'm just squeezing that up out of there. Now after that, with this filtered water I have, I'm going to rinse this carbon before I put it in the oven. Remember, you want it to be filtered water because it doesn't have the chlorine in it. Okay, after rinsing it with filtered water, I'm going to spread it on this baking pan. Okay, so I'm going to spread to get all this off. And spread this real nice. Okay, now as you can see, I have it spread out. I'm going to put it on the oven. I'm going to use the coffee filter to get that residue of activated carbon. But I'm going to put this in the oven at 250 degrees for 30 minutes. And there you have it. He put in my extra credit. The last time I showed it to him, because he said, he's like, in the meantime, for the residue, this is a coffee filter. I'm just letting the water drip out, and I'm going to throw that in the oven with the activated carbon that's drying out. Finishing, I should say. Okay, now this is how the charcoal looks dried out. It's like a powdery substance, you know, it's real coarse. And you can see I keep it in a jar. Jars come in handy. I'd rather have it in a jar, keeping it fresh instead of plastic. It'll last forever. I've already made the capsules. I used the 30-30 gel capsules just in case. It's, you know, activated charcoal has lots of benefits and lots of uses. So I'd like to say thank you for watching my video. Feel free to subscribe. Any comments or questions, leave them down below. Peace and love, everybody, and good luck to you. Thank you.